Exactly 2 days after the sinking, a team of recovery divers descended into the dark depths of the Atlantic Ocean. They were looking for the Jascon 4. Before it was swallowed by the sea, this heavy-duty tugboat spent its days servicing the massive oil platforms that dot the coastline. Nobody expected to find survivors. This was strictly a recovery mission to bring the drowned crew members back to the surface and give their families final closure. A diver reached into the dark wreckage to retrieve a lifeless body, but a living human hand firmly grabbed his. Biology and physics dictate a strict timeline for human survival underwater. Staying alive for 2 days under 100 feet of crushing ocean pressure is supposed to be mathematically impossible. The hand belonged to Harrison Okene, the ship's chef. He had 0 diving training, no emergency equipment, and absolutely no experience with underwater survival. To understand how a completely untrained cook outlasted a guaranteed death sentence, we have to look at the exact mechanics of his trap. Rewinding 48 hours reveals how Harrison fell into an accidental, highly unstable bubble of extreme physics. A violent rogue wave struck with such speed that the crew died instantly, leaving Harrison completely isolated as the ship plunged. The sheer force of the inrushing water violently swept Harrison into a small, enclosed room, just as the massive vessel slammed into the ocean floor, resting completely upside down. This diagram illustrates what happened inside that inverted room. As deep-sea water rushed in, oceanic pressure forced trapped air upward, pinning it against the ceiling. Under immense weight, this compression packed the oxygen molecules tightly together, acting as a temporary high-pressure life support system. The immense ocean pressure that had just destroyed millions of pounds of reinforced steel was the exact same force holding Harrison's breathable atmosphere intact, but that pocket was far from safe. Freezing ocean water surrounded him, and water aggressively strips heat from the human core nearly 25 times faster than air. Hypothermia was an immediate, lethal threat. Realizing he was freezing to death, Harrison ripped wooden panels off the walls. He managed to construct a makeshift platform, desperately elevating his vital organs just above the freezing waterline. The air pocket provided breathable atmosphere, but it functioned as a closed loop with a terminal expiration date. We can track that lethal decline on this graph. Every single time Harrison exhaled, he consumed the limited oxygen and replaced it with carbon dioxide. The CO2 levels rapidly climbed toward a critical threshold, turning his life-saving air into an invisible poison. Trapped in total darkness, Harrison hallucinated violently, listening as marine life consumed his crewmates right outside the sealed door. By hour 48, the CO2 graph had climbed to the lethal threshold, and Harrison's body heat was failing under the constant drain of the water. Finding Harrison alive transformed the recovery mission into a high-stakes engineering challenge. This anatomical model shows the hidden danger of his environment, nitrogen saturation. Because Harrison spent 2 days breathing highly compressed air 100 feet down, immense pressure forced nitrogen gas to dissolve directly into his bloodstream and muscular tissue. If rescuers simply pulled him rapidly to the surface, the sudden drop in ocean pressure would cause all that dissolved nitrogen to violently expand back into gas form, a condition commonly known as the bends. Those newly formed gas bubbles would act like microscopic internal shrapnel. They would instantly rupture his blood vessels and destroy his cells from the inside out, guaranteeing an agonizing death. That was the ultimate paradox of Harrison's rescue. The surface represented his only chance at true safety, but the physical journey to get there was a guaranteed death sentence. To get him out alive, the dive team executed a highly specialized extraction protocol. They fitted Harrison with a heavy professional deep-sea diving helmet, pumping in a specific oxygen mixture to stabilize his vitals. This schematic shows the next critical step. Divers guided him through the water and sealed him inside a diving bell, a heavy metal capsule designed to perfectly maintain the crushing pressure of the ocean floor while protecting him from the open water. Once secured, they hoisted the pressurized bell to the surface. Harrison was immediately transferred into a decompression chamber, where medical teams slowly bled the nitrogen out of his system over several hours. Bypassing the bends required carefully tricking his biology. The rescue team literally had to bring the ocean's intense pressure up to the surface so his body could safely reset. Harrison survived the physical extraction, But the psychological toll of the abyss lingered. For over a year, he battled deep depression and visceral night terrors, waking up feeling the freezing water and reliving the sensation of drowning. Even today, the scientific and medical communities remain deeply astonished by his case. Researchers continue to analyze his ordeal to map the absolute extreme limits of human endurance. Harrison Okene's survival stands as a singular anomaly, a moment where human willpower endured until scientific precision could pull him back from the abyss.